Jake Paul flew in a helicopter, shot with us before one of his fights.
What did you think of him without sugarcoating it, of saying,
Yeah.
oh, he's a great guy? Because it seems like everybody says that about everybody.
Nice as he could be. So I actually met him originally in 2018. He was gonna get into boxing, not in shape, at least not like he is now. He's like, oh, I want to fight this YouTuber. I want to be MMA because I have a wrestling background. I don't really know how to box. I showed him a little bit of Muay Thai, and yeah, we hung out, shot, and he was actually took instruction amazing, but ended up helping him a bunch with his charity as well. He has Boxing Bullies, trained in the Bronx, underprivileged kids in New York, did one in Miami. I'd put the kids through, me and Kaj actually put kids through like a Navy SEAL workout. He's like down earth, chill. He's just into training and not into partying, hardly drinks. Like, can't say enough good things about him.
Ever since I moved up to the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury been real quiet. Tyson Fury, where the pussy? Boom!
I beat him in 1 minute. How do you even assess how good I was?
Well, because I said I didn't know. And actually,
but you called me average after
you
1 minute. But you called me after 1 minute of my first professional fight?
No, but you're still average. You're not.
It's not true. I just beat a 5-time world champion.
You beat a UFC.
You don't even know. You don't know my ability though.
That's true. That's true.
You don't.
I don't know where you might go. I just give you where I think you're at, which I'm entitled to, which is average. Average is very complimentary to you.
Jake Paul has been heavily criticized for wanting to fight boxing legend Mike Tyson. Now, the YouTuber turned boxer has been under fire recently for promoting his boxing bouts, which many see as insignificant. Paul has become rather infamous for fighting retired athletes, MMA fighters, and boxers, and his latest fight against Tyson was the nail in the coffin. However, Paul doesn't seem to care about his critics and has continued promoting his future bout with Mike Tyson, which he sees as the biggest fight in boxing history.
Tyrone Woodley was 40 years old. Anderson Silva was nearly 50, not too far off my dad's age, and he took the full distance.
You think that Mike Tyson, I think, well, how old, 58? You think that Mike Tyson couldn't beat Tommy Fury's ass right now? You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And so...
Also live on Netflix this summer from Dallas, Mike Tyson is boxing Jake Paul, a kid more than half his age. My prediction, Iron Mike is gonna kill that baby. It'll be the only legal abortion in Texas. No fear, this is what we do.
The boxing world may criticize Jake Paul all they want. However, there's one thing you just can't ignore about the social media star. He's ambitious and dedicated AF. Since the fight with Mike Tyson was announced a couple of months back, Paul has become extremely serious about training and working hard on his boxing skills. This kid has made it a point to train with the most experienced people and hasn't hesitated to display his skills to the world.
The ultimate disruptor, taking on the baddest man on the planet. July 20th, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. It will be a massive, biggest event in our defeat, Arlington, Texas. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
One expert who recognizes and appreciates Jake Paul's ambition is Joe Rogan. Now, the podcast host has spoken about Paul on multiple occasions. However, he was stunned when he learned that the problem child called out Mike Tyson to a fight. Just have a look at this.
Just forget that Jake Paul is a YouTube guy and watch him box.
Yeah.
Kid can fight. And that Tommy Fury fight really showed that. Goes to a split decision against a legit undefeated boxer.
The one thing he doesn't want to do is fight Mike.
No.
He wants to fight Mike, I think.
Why? I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape, too.
He trains with Rafael Cordero. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson, and Tyson smashing the mitts, like, Jesus, that guy will hurt you.
Rogan was not thrilled about Paul fighting a boxing legend. Although he believes that Paul has immense potential, he still feels that Mike Tyson is a better boxer at 58 years old. But that hasn't stopped Rogan from praising Paul.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
That wasn't the only time Rogan praised Paul. Now, Rogan urges boxing enthusiasts to just ignore the problem child's antics and simply view him as a professional boxer and recognize the immense potential that the kid possesses.
Jake Paul is 100% legit. People that think he's not legit, he's conning you. He's conning you with his antics. He's conning you with his online persona and the shit talking and the marketing. But if you didn't have any of that, and me as an analyst, like that's one of my jobs. I analyze mixed martial arts. I'm not a boxing analyst, but I understand it.
Right.
When I watch him move around, it's 100% legit. When I saw him knock out Tyron Woodley, I'm like, that is a dangerous man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Rogan's respect for Paul's boxing abilities grew after he knocked down Anderson Silva in 2022. Now, Paul won that fight via an 8th round unanimous decision. Although Silva was already 47 at the time, Rogan saw it as a massive victory for the young aspiring boxer.
Those Paul guys are winning fights.
What Ken Lewis Gomez?
Paul guys are winning fights.
Dude, Jake Paul, 100% legit.
Yeah.
Knock down Anderson Silva. That's the end of the discussion.
That's insane.
I don't care if
Knock down a guy
Silva's
like that.
47 years old. Who cares?
He agreed to it.
He boxes very well. He still moves very well. And just the skill level alone, the fact that he was able to catch him and knock him down, that's a big deal.
Damn. It's the end of an era.
It's a big deal. It's an end of an era for sure, but it's also like that guy's a legit fighter. He's not just a YouTube guy. He moves like a fighter.
Rogan went so far as to call those who criticize and dismiss Paul's boxing abilities as delusional.
But if that guy wasn't Jake Paul from YouTube, and he was just an up-and-coming, undefeated boxer who's been knocking out MMA fighters, you would go, wow, this kid is awesome. You would say, look at this up-and-coming boxer who's tricked these MMA guys into boxing with him, and he's knocking them all out. Knocked out Ben Askren, knocked out Tyron Woodley with one punch.
That was gross.
Anybody that doesn't think he's legit after that, you're delusional.
It's obvious by now that Joe Rogan sees Jake Paul as a future pro boxer. Although he refuses to promote the problem child as a boxing superstar, he does think that Paul can make it in the world of professional boxing. Unfortunately, that hasn't stopped the boxing community from blasting Paul. Even Mike Tyson didn't hesitate to question Paul's past performances.
I don't know if he's in his prime. He's fat. He should be lean and mean. He's fat and funky. I saw him with his shirt off over there. He's fat. Did you start training already?
Buster Douglas was fat, am I right?
I know, but you're no Buster Douglas. He's not going to win. Couldn't even knock out Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is 40 pounds. How you gonna knock me out? What's the other guy? Anderson Silva. He didn't knock those little guys. How you gonna knock me out? Who did he knock out? Who did he knock out? Little children. He didn't knock out, never knocked out a real man. Come on. I can't even get mad at this guy because everybody know this guy's talking out of his ass and stealing money. I'm up here just stealing money fighting him. Well, just come to the fight and you'll see. Listen, I started Jake off and I'm gonna finish him.
Mike Tyson thinks that Paul is fat and unprepared for the fight against him. Now, he questioned his opponent's knockout power, which is reasonable considering Mike Tyson is famous for his incredible one-punch knockout power. I mean, come on, there's a reason it was called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Now, if Paul were to face Mike Tyson in the boxing ring, Iron Mike believes that kid doesn't stand a chance. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait until November to watch Paul versus Mike Tyson in the ring. Before that, Paul is set to take on Mike Perry on the originally announced July 20th date for the Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Okay, for all of y'all that don't already know, Iron Mike was forced to pull out of the July 20th fight in Arlington, Texas due to an ulcer flare-up. Now, this was heartbreaking news for millions of boxing fans who were eager to see Iron Mike absolutely destroy Paul. However, the problem child refused to disappoint fans by making him wait until November and decided to take on old foe Perry. Now, this is an interesting fight considering Mike Perry is a notable name in the combat sports world, having been the former world bare-knuckle boxing champion and even having fought in the UFC. So, a Paul versus Mike Perry fight makes for an interesting matchup for boxing fans. Now, Rogan also had Perry on the Joe Rogan podcast in the past, and the two had some interesting conversations. Just have a look at what Perry had to say about boxing.
This bare-knuckle boxing thing has been fascinating to watch, man, because it's like someone designed the perfect sport for you. There's a pain and there's a danger and there's a wildness of it that even some very great fighters, they don't want that experience once they're in there, but you seem to thrive on it.
You know, it's just a real fight to me.
First one, Michael Venom Page. That guy is super talented.
Yeah.
I mean, he's extraordinary. When you watch him fight in MMA, and he's a guy that I kind of predicted one day. I was like, the one skill that you don't see a lot of in MMA is this crazy blitz point fighting style. Because those guys can cover crazy distances. Those really good point fighters. And he was a really good point fighter. And he was the first guy that kind of showed how that style could apply in MMA. He's so elusive and so hard to hit.
But his legs are very dangerous. I mean, that last guy he fought, he kicked him in the leg and it was over.
Yeah, he's very dangerous. The knockout of Cyborg was crazy. He caved his forehead in.
With his legs, that's what I'm saying. His legs are dangerous.
Incredible.
It's interesting.
You think about a guy like him who applies this full, wild range of things, especially with Michael Venom Page, because he's so good at closing distance and kicking you and kneeing you. And the timing of that knee, I mean, magnificent, right? And, you just put it on him.
Perry does admire boxing, but proclaims bare knuckle to be a much tougher sport. So does that mean that he's gonna have to take it easy against Paul? Now, we don't know for sure. In another interview, Rogan and Perry discussed the differences between bare knuckle and actual boxing. Now, Perry also talked about some interesting boxing fights, which he witnessed and compared them to bare knuckle boxing.
So what is the biggest difference about bare knuckle for you?
When I fought Julian Lane, his little head hurt my hands. Because a lot of the time with boxing gloves on, your hands are like open and you try to close it at the right time. But if you do that bare knuckle, because you know how if you're squeezing your fist, it's a little harder to move. You're kind of tense. But in bare knuckle, you have to learn how to move while you're tense and keep your hands closed. Because with gloves, you can block a shot like this, but in bare knuckle, you gotta be closed up, tight, and squeezing your fist so hard so that when you hit them in the head, you don't destroy your hand.
Yeah, there's 3 levels of vulnerability. And the level number 1 is like, you would see a lot of the glory guys. They keep their hands in a shell, like Alistair Overeem or, like Badr Hari. Those guys would shell up. They shell up, but they have those big ass. And you see that when they come to MMA, some of those shots sneak through.
Yes.
But then bare knuckle, it's another level of sneaking through. It's really interesting to watch a really good fighter like Luke Rockhold and you. Luke Rockhold is very skillful. He's a very skillful guy. And when you were putting it on him, I was like, this is a totally different thing. And you are like uniquely suited for this totally different thing.
Thank you.
It's different than regular boxing, man. And remember when Paulie Malignaggi fought Artem Lobov?
Well, Paulie, I mean, he's a scrawny dude. And Lobov was just a little dog.
He's a dog.
Yeah. So
that dude's an animal.
It was a good fight, to be honest. But the jabbing and moving that Paulie didn't work for him. And Luke, I don't know. That's kind of what we were talking about when you brought up Luke. I was talking about the tight fist and like how bare knuckle is different. It's like I figured out how to utilize the bare knuckle. I knocked his teeth out. I hit him by the time I caught him, and then he was like, I'm not trying to get hit like that again. It was a matter of time. The gap was closing. It takes a second. He hit me too, and I told him, I bet it. I haven't talked to him about it or asked him because I don't, he lost or whatever, so I don't talk to losers. But when I hit him with that shot and he didn't want to get hit again, He had hit me. I got a little knot on my face right there, but I took it and I bet it hurt him. I bet it hurt his hand. I told him before the fight, you're gonna punch me in the head. It's gonna be the hardest thing you ever hit, and then I'm gonna headbutt you in your hands and I'm gonna punch you in your face, and you're gonna quit. And that's what he did. People know when Mike Perry walks down the street, it's like, that's the baddest mother ever lived, dude. Mike Perry, they're gonna talk about me just like they did Mike Tyson.
Paul's biggest rival, KSI, also expressed his skepticism on Paul's sudden decision to fight Mike Perry. Now, he didn't hesitate in exposing Paul's ambitious desires for boxing supremacy by fighting combat sports icons who are way past their prime. He is clearly not in favor of Paul fighting Mike Tyson, but was even more surprised when he learned that Paul was fighting Perry. Just have a look.
Perry's in this new fight. Suddenly, for me, I was way more excited.
I think you'd much rather fight an old man. Yeah, it's just so much easier. Why would he fight Mike?
That's so true.
Yeah,
dude.
why would he fight?
Let me get back in this
legit,
chat,
bro.
Perry also recently posted footage of himself training for his upcoming fight with Paul. Now, Perry's been busy lately, training on the pads and sparring and working out with his trainer. Just have a look at all the latest training footage.
Push again. Do it again. Then higher. Push. Beautiful. Catch two. Give me a slip two. Give me a roll behind that. Touch. Grip hard. Touch. Hard right. Again. 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 One more. Good shit, Papa.
Now, we're going to leave it up to y'all to judge Perry based on the training footage and decide whether he can defeat Paul in the fight that's only a week away. And let me know in the comment section below what y'all thinking. Moving on though, not a lot of people know that Perry and Jake Paul sparred in the past. Now, the two had a sparring session a couple of years ago, which makes this fight even more interesting than y'all think. Perry recently talked about sparring Jake, revealing some pretty interesting details.
Can you come clean for us on what may or may not have happened? We love a juicy backstory. I know you guys don't love talking about what happens in a sparring session because of sort of what goes into sparring, but people are trying to clown you by showing videos of you congratulating Jake and essentially telling him that, you know, he got the better of you. What should we make of that? What year was the sparring? What can you tell us about it?
It was 3 years ago, I think. It was a week before I fought Daniel Rodriguez. I was about 179 pounds. Jake was maybe 195, I don't know. And he hit me with a couple sniper shots in the second and maybe the third, but I took those quite well. His team was all there cheering. I had my son, who was maybe a few months old at the time, in his little Duna. My wife was there. That's who I went to the gym. Jake had all his people there, some security or whatever, and they were cheering for him a little bit, but then those cheers kind of died down after he hit me with a couple of those sniper shots, and I kept putting the pressure on him, and I just get angrier and angrier if you hit me. And, you know, anger is where I'm truly happy. You know, I really enjoy being pissed off. And, you know, I'm looking to because I'm already excited about this fight, and this is an opportunity. I think it gets to be me who gets to do this to Jake and prove that, you know, I'm kind of on MMA side, in a MMA's side here. Like, I'm kind of fighting for the MMA guys that he has. There are two that I respect, T. Wood and Anderson Silva. I respect those guys, but I just feel like I've brought something different as an MMA fighter in boxing. I feel like I've always been a boxer that had the most success in the MMA octagon, and you know, it's just a day at a time, and we're fine-tuning the details, and I think I'm gonna be too much for this kid when it's time to step in the ring.
These two do have a history together, which means their upcoming fight could be nothing more than explosive. This is probably the biggest fight for Jake Paul, considering he's fighting somebody who's still active in combat sports. A victory for Paul against Mike Perry would be a confidence booster for the future fight against Mike Tyson, which is now scheduled for November 15th. But I want to hear from y'all. Who do you think is going to win this upcoming fight? Can Jake Paul beat Mike Perry come July 20th? Let me know in that comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.